Hello viewers and welcome to this discussion on trends of non-fiction programmings on television. Now, if you sit down with the program listings of any average television channel, be it national or be it local or international, you will realize that there is a lot of non-fiction programming that goes on in most of the channels, except the channels, the movie channels like Zee Cinema and so on. Okay, and there are some television channels which are dedicated entirely to non-fiction programming, like these 24-hour news channels, then channels like Discovery, Nat Geo, Travel and Living, History Channel, and so on and so forth. Now, in all these channels put together, you will find a lot of genres, a lot of styles of non-fiction programming that is aired. And today we shall study some of the trends that emerge from these programs collectively. Now, to begin with, let us make a list of the genres or the types of non-fiction programs that you can see on television. The most important, of course, is news. Apart from news, there are other programs that deal with political and topical issues, current affairs issues, which are these panel discussions and debates, interviews, live broadcast, and features, sometimes even documentaries. Then in addition to these, there are other programs which are not political in nature, but these can also be clubbed as non-fiction programs. For example, travel shows, cookery shows, science and technology programs, behind the scenes of making of films, okay, then countdown programs, music countdown programs or other kinds of countdown programs, talent hunt programs like Indian Idol and Dance India Dance and so on, film reviews, even the news channels carry these film reviews, gadget reviews, adventure sports, game shows, lifestyle shows, quiz shows, etc., etc., etc. So, it's a wide array of non-fiction programming that you get to see on television. But the genre that tops the list is news. And for news, we have dedicated other lectures who are into the business of television journalism. They are going to discuss about broadcast news. But today, here, I shall discuss some other current affairs and topical programs which are not news but related to news. Now, most important of them is what we call as features. Now, what are features and how are these features different from news? I will give you an example. A few years back on CNN IBN, there was a program, a two-part program which was aired on 2 consecutive days called Operation Zero Line. Now, what was this Operation Zero Line? It was basically the border situation along the Indo-Bangladesh border. And it was aired just about a month after the 26/11 tragedy that happened in Mumbai. And so the topicality of this program was that if terrorists can infiltrate along the western border, cut across through the seas, the eastern border is equally porous and it is totally neglected. It's not talked about, but it's like a time bomb, and anybody can walk in through the eastern border. So that was the topicality, the topical relevance of that feature. And how did they go about doing it? They sent out a team along the Indo-Bangladesh border, to the Indo-Bangladesh border, who went from place to place, took interviews of people, took candid shots, took shots of the BSF guards who were guarding the border, okay, took shots even of the porosity and the smuggling that goes on across the border, people who live right on the border line, and so on and so forth, and they make a kind of documentary on that. Okay, and then in the program, how it was packaged, it was a live program. So there is a TV anchor, and the TV anchor was talking to certain experts, one of them being the Director General of BSF. So the Director General of BSF was not in the television studio, but he was in his office in Delhi. But the other experts on Indo-Bangladesh border, they were present in the television studio. So there was a live discussion, and in between we saw the excerpts of this documentary. And this it was a 1-hour program. In 2 episodes, it was the total packaging was for 2 hours, and we call it a feature, not news, because news is very focused and presented in very small capsule of not more than 2 minutes, whereas a feature is more analytical, it is more detailed, it is topical, but it has a much longer shelf life. Okay, even though this program was aired just close at heels of the 26/11 tragedy, but this program has its relevance even today. Even today, you can watch the program and relate to it, and you can understand the alarming situation. So the program hasn't got stale. So features are longer, more in-depth, they are more analytical, they have multiple points of view, and the entire feature is not live. Parts of the feature, the discussion part was live, but the visual documentation part was obviously not live, and a feature has a longer shelf life. Okay, so that is a very important kind of non-fiction programming which is related to news but not news. Then every evening you have these debates on all the news channels. Arnab Goswami's News Hour, NDTV, the buck stops here, where the TV anchor is there who is a very senior broadcast journalist, and he raises an issue, a very topical issue, and he takes the opinion of various stakeholders. Some of them are MPs and directly politically affiliated, some of them are academicians and they may not have any direct political affiliation, but they have an opinion on the topic in question, topic under discussion. So there is a debate and there is a raging debate, and you know how Arnab Goswami can churn up a debate and make provocative statements, so that his channel gets higher ratings. So these debates, or you can call them talk shows or debates or whatever, these are also topical and happens on the 24-hour news channels related to news but not exactly directly news. All right. So these are some of these news related programs. In addition, we have interviews, and one very famous interview program that many people watch is Devil's Advocate, which is done by Karan Thapar. So Karan Thapar's Devil's Advocate is not a talk show. He has a one-to-one discussion with one person, be it Amartya Sen or Kiran Bedi or anybody. Okay, he picks up an issue and he has a very incisive one-to-one discussion. So you can have a glimpse of that program. It's there on the internet. You can download. So that is again very topical and very with cutting edge kind of program. In addition to that, we have live broadcasts. Now, what kind of live broadcasts we have? Definitely, we have live broadcasts of cricket matches, of the Olympic Games, of the World Cup football, okay, of any other game, we have live broadcasts. When our Prime Minister Modi visits abroad and he is holding public meetings, we have live broadcasts of that which are aired on every single channel. We have live broadcasts of the 26th January and 15th August programs, okay. Like when Narendra Modi went to USA, he had a big meeting which was hosted by Mark Zuckerberg, the head of Facebook. And many of us watched the program and we saw Narendra Modi breaking down also in that program. So it was a live broadcast. So these are all live broadcasts which fall under the category of non-fiction programming. Okay, now can you name one live broadcast that was rudely or abruptly banned? And that live broadcast was a live broadcast of the 26/11 tragedy. Because when this terrorists attacked Taj Mahal Hotel, they held these, the hotel inmates hostage, okay, and all the television OB fans were lined up along the Gateway of India outside the Taj Mahal Hotel, and they were giving a blow-by-blow commentary on what is going on. They were not allowed inside, but from outside they were giving a blow-by-blow commentary. Now, why that was abruptly stopped, abruptly banned? Because the terrorists were watching those programs and they were getting ideas of what is happening outside. Okay, so that became a security issue for the country and also for the people who were held hostage inside the hotel. So that live broadcast was stopped. But as long as this was happening, people were glued to the television sets. Okay, so like that, we have all these topical programs which are news related but not exactly news. The question is, why are these programs so popular? Why do people like watching the programs like News Hour or The Buck Stops Here? The reasons are that number one, they feel connected, the audience feels connected to the topical events as if they are participating in the history while it is being made. Okay, so that is a very important connection that is made through these non-fiction programs. Okay, they feel that they will have a better understanding of the situation when they listen to the various points of view in the debates. Okay, they will have a better understanding whether they actually have or not. That again is a matter of debate, but that feeling is there, but they would like to listen to various opinions and then form their own opinion. And of course, most importantly, they are entertained. It is an irony to say that people were glued to the television sets when the 26/11 drama was being telecast live, because there was an entertainment element in that also. Okay, so that's why these non-fiction programs are very, very popular, and in many cases they are more popular than the fiction programs. Now, why these programs are more popular than the fiction programs? That reason is, it has something to do with the nature of television. Now, when we go to watch movies, we buy the ticket, we go to the movie hall, we invest some time and money, and then we are mentally ready to be entertained. Whereas when we watch television, television set is in our drawing room. We can turn on and turn off the television set whenever we want, and we watch television while we are doing our daily chores. Okay, so television is like a part of our life. It's a part of our lived existence. It is an extension of our lives. Okay, so it's like a window to the world, that we, through television, we know what is going on outside our homes. Okay, and we become vicariously, we become a part of it. That's what television means to the millions of audience all over the world, and it's the non-fiction programming that makes this expectation of the audience, fulfills the expectation of the audience more than the fiction programming. Okay, definitely this non-fiction programming has an entertainment value. Without that, the audience will not be hooked, but more importantly, the audience feels connected through these non-fiction programming. And television is also very much presenter based. So as a result, all these television anchors like Arnab Goswami, Barkha Dutt, Rajdeep Sardesai, Prannoy Roy, they have become stars in their own right. Okay, even somebody like Karan Thapar or Simi Grewal, they have also attained stardom. But these television stars are different from the movie stars. The movie stars are larger than life, whereas these television stars are more like ourselves. We feel more connected to them because they come into our drawing room every evening. We spend time with them, even though in a virtual mode. So we feel more at home with these television stars. They are more like you and me, not larger than life heroes or like Amitabh Bachchan and Shah Rukh Khan. All right. Although television, in order to gain popularity, invites these larger than life movie stars to come into their shows, to appear in the idiot box or the small box, whatever you call it, and to host programs. For example, Satyameva Jayate, hosted by Aamir Khan, or Kaun Banega Crorepati, hosted by Amitabh Bachchan, or Coffee with Karan. So all these people from the world of cinema, which is always larger than life and is a glamour world, come into your drawing rooms via the idiot box, via the television set, and they become your every evening companions, you can say. Okay, so you have watched some of these programs. You can take a look at excerpts of these programs. So you will see the intimacy, the bridge that is built between the audience and these big time stars. Let us go back, trace this history of this non-fiction programming a little bit. Let us first see what happened in the 80s. The non-fiction programs that happened in the 80s, some of these are Janvani, Quiz Time, The World This Week, Mathematics Show, Aisa Bhi Hota Hai, Turning Point. Now, Janvani was hosted by Vinod Dua, and in Janvani, one minister, union minister or minister of state came to the television studio. There was a live audience, plus there were letters from the other audience who could not come to the television studio, and that minister was questioned by the public on several issues and he had to give impromptu answers. So that was Janwani, where the minister was held answerable to millions of people, okay, millions of citizens. Quiz Time was a very popular quiz program hosted by Siddharth Basu. The World This Week, everybody knows Pranay Roy shot to fame with The World This Week, and it was tremendously popular because again, once again, at least the English speaking audience, they got a glimpse of watching these things happen in front of their eyes. Not live, but at least almost as good as live. All right, Mathematics Show was again an edutainment program, which was their Sunday morning show on Doordarshan. Aisa Bhi Hota Hai was a very, very interesting program where an anchor who was not a glamour girl, a very ordinary person who spoke very well, she came and said about interesting facets like how the dabbawalas function and other interesting things about our everyday existence which we do not know. Okay, so that was also quite popular. Turning Point was a science magazine. So these were the programs that were aired on the national network of Doordarshan. These were rather high on educational values. They were somewhat didactic in nature because Doordarshan's mandate always is to educate while entertaining. Okay, so these had a different flavor of their own. Now some of these programs have morphed into other kinds of programs today, and some of these programs like Mathematics Show and all are lost forever. Those do not happen in today's television anymore. Now come 1990s, and we saw a different kind of non-fiction programming on television, because in the 1990s with the Gulf War, private television channels took entry into our drawing rooms. First, of course, the big cities, then it proliferated into smaller towns also. All right, and these were private television channels like Zee TV, Star TV, MTV, okay, Discovery Channel, and we got to see very, very different kind of non-fiction programming on these channels. For example, Saap Siri. Saap Siri was a kind of game show which was hosted by a person called Mohan Kapoor, which was aired on Zee TV. Now, it was less cerebral than the programs that we saw on Doordarshan earlier, but more excitement, more full of activity. Okay, some people found it very banal who were expecting cerebral programs, but most of the people connected with it because of the excitement and because of the lightheartedness of the program. And Saap Siri was in some ways a copy of Crystal Maze, which used to come on Star TV around that same time. So Crystal Maze was also a game show. Then on MTV we started seeing MTV Bakra. Okay, MTV Bakra there was a lot of speculation whether it is scripted or whether it is real life, what exactly it is. Then we saw again on Zee TV, we saw Bonvita Quiz Contest hosted by Derek O'Brien. So all these kinds of programs started coming on the private television channel, which were actually different, qualitatively different from the non-fiction program we had earlier seen on Doordarshan. Then of course, to top it all, we had this Kaun Banega Crorepati on Star, and with that the ratings of the Star TV went up like anything. Kaun Banega Crorepati was an adaptation of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Now, interestingly, Siddharth Basu, who had shot to fame with his program called Quiz Time on Doordarshan, he formed a company called Synergy Communication, and he simultaneously produced two quiz programs. One was Kaun Banega Crorepati, which was anchored by Amitabh Bachchan, and the other was Mastermind India, which was anchored by Siddharth Basu himself. Now, what was the difference between these two programs? Both are quiz programs, but in Kaun Banega Crorepati, it was ensured that even a very, very ordinary person should be able to clear the first couple of rounds. Okay, so therefore anybody who could answer those questions that were sent on SMS could potentially have an entry into Kaun Banega Crorepati, and then he would win at least 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees by answering the first couple of round of questions. Later on, of course, the questions became more difficult as the rounds progressed. So that was Kaun Banega Crorepati, whereas Mastermind India, it was more of an elitist program meant only for hardcore quizzers who could answer very, very difficult questions. Okay, and there the reward was not cash prize, but just you have crossed Mastermind India means that tag, the aura that was associated with Mastermind India. Similarly, Indian Idol. Indian Idol started in the year 2004. Okay, and which was again a copy of a very popular American TV show called American Idol. So Indian Idol is a talent hunt, okay, musical talent hunt, and even these elimination round, the knockout rounds were also aired on television to generate interest. It was a very, very different experience for the Indian audience, because all these youngsters who came from small towns and villages with lots of aspirations, they are singing and they are being ridiculed in front of the TV camera, and they are being told that this is nothing and you have to do a lot of practice and all that. Okay, so all these things, the enactment, that's playing out of real life situation in front of the TV camera and a huge number of audience watching it, that was something new for an Indian audience, and they were totally hooked to this Indian Idol. Now, another reason why a program like Indian Idol was a big hit was that our audience could participate by voting. That means audience felt that they were also part of the program, because they also could vote for their own idol, as if they are choosing their own idol. So audience was no longer just a passive audience, but they had a chance to participate. And the contestants were ordinary people who were from small towns or even in big cities, but with very humble background, but who had a talent which was recognized by the Indian Idol team and then eventually by the entire nation. Okay, so this was again a very, very different ground that was being broken by making the programs participatory and by bringing a very, very common ordinary people into the television studio under the limelight and making stars out of them. All right. So here again, there was a consumerist ideology that was clearly at work. Now, what kind of consumerist ideology? The television sets were very lavishly made, whether it is Indian Idol or whether it is Kaun Banega Crorepati, very lavishly made television sets. Then in the sets, you have stars, like in KBC, you have Amitabh Bachchan, in Indian Idol, you have Javed Akhtar and other big names, okay, who are there as judges. And this ordinary person is coming in, he or she is participating in the program. Okay, so it was like his ticket to ticket to stardom, and it's as if like saying that, look, we are at the top of the ladder. Okay, and you can be us, you can be one of us if you follow our rules. Okay, it's like that. All right, so therefore it was like urging the common citizen to aspire to that level, to follow the footsteps of these high achievers not in terms of academics or fighting a war or anything like that, high achievers in terms of attaining stardom and becoming, monetarily very affluent. That was the achievement that was projected, and the ordinary people were lured into following their footsteps and attaining their strata in society. Now, I would like to discuss an indigenous program called Rozgare Ginni, which was a trendsetter. It became a trendsetter, and it's a highly successful television program that even today it runs on ETV. In fact, it is longest running television program on a Bengali channel. Now, what is Rozgare Ginni? A small team from the production company consisting of the camera, sound recordist, assistant and an anchor. They knock at the door of any ordinary middle class family, and they enter the family and engage them in a conversation. And then they play games, beginning with memory games, to games like how fast you can cut onions or how many clothes you can iron in a given period of time, etc., etc. Particularly engage the housewife in these activities, and for every achievement the housewife is given a check, 1,000 rupees check or 2,000 rupees check, so on. So Rozgare Ginni means earning housewife. So by participating in the program, the housewife is earning. Okay. Now, why did this program become such a runaway success? Number one, for the first time, one particular class of Indian society, which is housewives, were brought into the limelight brought under public gaze, and they were appreciated for their abilities to run a house efficiently. That ironing clothes or cutting onions and things like that, which they had been doing, but nobody had given any value to these skills that they had acquired over the years. So for the first time they came to the limelight, and their everyday skills of running a household were appreciated. Secondly, the team was going into a very ordinary middle class family, so an aspiration was raised in all the households that, oh, the Rosegiri Ginni can come and knock at our door also, you never know. Okay, so that kind of aspiration was raised. And then of course it was a participatory program bringing the common man into the limelight. So therefore, in conclusion, I would like to say that non-fiction genres are very, very important because they help the audience to connect to the world. Secondly, the audience participates in the programming either by voting or in any other way, becomes a participant, then the popularity of the program becomes higher. And the Indian audience was exposed to this range of non-fiction programming. The first phase was when the national network started in the 80s. The second phase was when the private television channels started operating in the 1990s. Till date. So every day new non-fiction programming genres are being invented, and some genres become very, very popular because of the anchor, because of the charisma of the anchor, or because of the participatory nature of the program or the uniqueness of the programs, and they leave a lasting impression on society at large. And one thing we must remember, that television at the end is a business. Okay, so whatever be the genre of programming, the program has to make business, and every program actually vicariously turns every audience into a consumer in very, very subtle ways. Okay, so if you sit and analyze these non-fiction programs, there is always this trend to bring the ordinary audience into the fold of the programming and giving him enough respect so that he also becomes a part of this consumer society. Okay, so these non-fiction programs are inclusive, but at the same time they turn us into consumers, and they set aspirations of becoming like the stars who are the host of these non-fiction programs.